A deep rumble tears through the earth, waking you like a slap to the chest. You bolt upright in the cave, heart pounding. The stone beneath you is shaking breathing. Outside, the night is no longer dark. A strange red glow pulses across the sky, growing brighter with each passing moment. Then comes the sound, not thunder, not wind, something worse. A roar so loud it drowns your thoughts. You rush to the edge of the cave and look up. The mountain is on fire. A pillar of smoke towers into the heavens. Molten stone bursts from the peak like the earth itself is screaming. The ground convulses. Trees snap. Ash begins to fall like snow-hot, black, choking. And in that moment, one thought claws into your mind. How did anyone survive this? If you're curious about how our ancient ancestors faced disasters like this, without warning, without science, without any modern tools, then this is your story. Because what you're about to experience isn't a history lesson. It's you, living it. So before the ash clouds the sky, before the world turns to fire, make sure to like this video and subscribe. It helps us keep bringing ancient survival stories to life. Now close your eyes and step back in time. The fire doesn't fall all at once. It starts with ash tiny, weightless specks drifting from the sky like dark feathers. You watch them swirl in the air, carried by wind that feels too warm, too dry. Then, a sharp hiss. A glowing stone crashes into a tree just beyond the ridge, setting it alight. Flames spread through the branches like they've been waiting. The mountain has truly awakened. You duck back into the cave, your sister still clutching your hand. Around you, the others crowd together in a silent panic. Some try to comfort the children. Others sit frozen, eyes wide, staring at the entrance. Outside, the sky glows the color of blood. The elders speak in low voices, but you catch enough to know this is not the first time. Gray Fur, the oldest among them, raises a shaking hand and touches the cave wall. "When I was small," he says, "my father told me of fire falling from the sky. He said the mountain coughs when the world is out of balance, and when it does, we must leave." Leave? The idea wraps around your throat like a vine. This cave is your home. The cliffs are your shield. But as another crash shakes the mountain and a fresh wave of heat rolls in, you know he's right. "We can't stay," you whisper. Your sister nods. She understands. The tribe begins to move. Quietly, carefully. Hides are gathered. Tools are strapped to backs. Firestones are tucked into satchels. Water skins. Dried meat. Anything you can carry. You're not the only ones to think of fleeing. In the forest below, through the smoke, you spot movement. Deer, boar, even a bear lumbering through the brush in silence. Everything that breathes is running. You step outside. The heat hits you like a wall. The ground is trembling more now constant, like the heartbeat of some massive beast beneath your feet. The trees are burning in the distance. The air smells like rotten eggs and smoke. Every breath tastes like dust. You don't know where you're going, but you know where not to go. Away from the mountain. Fast. You follow the river. It's the one path you trust, always flowing downhill, always leading somewhere lower, safer. You remember the stories. When the fire came, it was the river that carried people to safety. You hope it still remembers how. Behind you, the others follow. The tribe moves like a single body. Elders in the middle, warriors at the back. Children carried or held by the hand. No one speaks. Every sound now belongs to the mountain. A second eruption lights the sky. You turn just for a moment and see the peak explode in a fountain of fire. Red lightning flashes inside the ash cloud. A sound like the world cracking apart echoes across the valley. Your legs carry you faster. The earth shakes again harder now. Rocks tumble from cliffs. Trees fall. You grab your sister and dive beneath a thick bush, just as a boulder crashes down the slope behind you. It rolls, bounces, smashes a tree, and keeps going. You wait, count your breaths, then you rise and keep moving. The tribe pushes on, deeper into the forest. The trees thin out here. The ground flattens. The river widens. For a while, you dare to hope. But then you see the sky. It's not just smoke now. It's ash-thick, black, and endless. It blots out the stars, the moon, the sun, wherever it may be. The world grows dim, like dusk has fallen too early. Your skin itches. Your eyes burn. Every breath takes effort. And yet, you move forward, because stopping means burning, because fire is behind you, because the only way out is through. The ash gets thicker. At first, it clung to your skin like dust. Now it coats your arms, your hair, your lashes. It falls like snow, but hot and dry. You wipe it away, only for more to take its place. The world is slowly turning gray. Your sister stumbles beside you. She coughs shallow, dry, painful. You take the edge of your fur wrap and lift it over her nose. She nods, eyes wide and red. It helps, but only a little. You glance behind. The mountain is hidden now, swallowed by its own cloud. Only the occasional burst of red light flickers from the sky, like the last angry heartbeat of a dying god. But you know better. This isn't death. It's just beginning. You push forward along the river. But it's not the river you knew. The water runs black with ash. Bits of scorched leaves float by. You kneel, touch the surface. It's warm. Not boiling. Not dangerous, but wrong. Unnatural. Even the fish have vanished. Gray fur signals for a stop. The tribe gathers in a shallow dip between trees. The smoke isn't so heavy here. You rest your back against a stone and try to catch your breath. Around you, others cough. Some weep quietly. 2 elders wrap damp hides around a child's face to help her breathe. The baby cries. The sound is small, but in this silence, it cuts like flint. "We can't rest long," someone mutters. "No," Gray Fur says. "The sky is falling." We go on. But go where? You think back farther than memory, to the stories the elders told around the fire, of a place beyond the forest where the ground is flat and the air moves free, where water runs cold and deep and the sky is always open. A place of safety, they said. A story meant for children. But what if it was real? Grayfur speaks again, voice slow and sure. The old path. My grandfather said it led away from fire. Far, far to the east. Past the river split, past the jagged stones, toward the endless plains. You feel something stir in your chest. Hope. No one speaks against it. No one has a better answer. And so the tribe rises, slow and tired, and begins to move again. The hours blur. You walk until your legs feel hollow, until your mind floats above your body, watching from a distance. Ash turns the world into a haze-gray trees, gray sky, gray faces. The only sound is the crunch of feet and the steady cough of breath. Then something changes. A wind. It brushes your cheek like a hand. Cool, clean. You inhale sharply. No ash, just air. Real air. Others notice it too. Heads lift, eyes widen. You reach a rise and climb to the top. Beyond the hill, the forest ends. In its place, a wide stretch of open ground low grass, scattered stones, a stream that hasn't yet turned black. And beyond that, far on the horizon, the land dips into rolling plains. You've found it, the beginning of the old path. You fall to your knees and press your hand to the earth. It's cool, not trembling, not scorched. You whisper a thank you, though you're not sure to whom. Behind you, the tribe gathers, looking out over the land like it's the edge of a dream. Some begin to cry. Others simply collapse, breathing deep. Even Gray Fur lowers himself slowly to the grass, pressing his face to it like a blessing. But you know this is not the end. The mountain still burns. You turn to the trees behind you, now little more than shadows in the ash cloud. The fire hasn't reached here yet, but it will. Tonight, Greyfur says, we rest, and tomorrow we move east. You sit beside your sister and offer her water. She drinks with shaking hands. Then she leans against you and closes her eyes. You look at the sky, still gray, still heavy, but for the first time, you see stars pushing through, faint, flickering, but real. You don't remember falling asleep. One moment, you're watching the stars struggle through the gray sky. The next, you're waking to soft light on your eyelids and the sound of someone stirring near the stream. Your back aches from the hard earth. Your skin is coated in dry ash. But for the first time in what feels like days, the ground is still. You sit up slowly. Your sister is curled beside you, her breath calm. Around you, others are beginning to rise. There's no fire this morning, no roasted meat or morning chatter, but there is quiet, a kind of stillness that feels sacred after so much chaos. You step to the stream. The water here runs clearer, cool. You kneel and scoop it into your hands. It tastes sharp and clean, like stone and sky. The ash hasn't spoiled this place yet. You drink again. A voice calls your name softly. It's Greyfur. He's standing farther up the hill, where the grass meets the edge of the forest. You jog to meet him, careful not to wake the others. Look, he says. You follow his gaze. Far across the plain, near the horizon, a faint line rises into the Ira ridge of stone. Sharp, jagged. You've heard of it before. The elders called it the teeth of the earth, a place of wind and danger. But beyond it, they said, the land opens wide, endless grasses, herds of animals, rivers too wide to cross in a day. Sanctuary. That's where we go, Greyfur says. If the path is still there. You nod, though a knot tightens in your belly. You've never traveled so far. None of you have. But it's not the distance that worries you, it's the silence. You glance back toward the forest. It's too quiet. The birds haven't returned. The animals haven't come back. The mountain hasn't made a sound. And that's what scares you most. By midday, the tribe is moving again. The sky remains heavy, but lighter than before. The air smells faintly of smoke, but there's no fresh ash falling. You travel in a long line, following the river east, staying close to its cool flow. The ground is soft here, untouched. No burn marks, no fallen trees, no signs of the fire's reach. It feels wrong, too peaceful, too easy. You keep your eyes on the sky. By the time the sun hangs high above, you've crossed the wide field and begun climbing the outer edges of the stone ridge. The land changes quickly. Soft grass gives way to hard rock, sharp ledges, loose gravel. The stream narrows, cuts deeper into the earth, until it becomes a thin silver line far below. Climbing is slow. One child slips and scrapes their hand. Another cries from exhaustion. You help carry one of the elders, his legs no longer strong enough for the slope. The climb tests everyone, but still, you move. Still, you rise. By nightfall, you reach a ledge overlooking everything you've passed. You turn and look back. Far in the distance, where the forest once stood proud, you see only black. Smoke rises in long, thick trails. A faint red glow pulses at the horizon like a second sun. The fire has spread, and it's following you. But here, on this high ridge, the wind is stronger, colder, cleaner. You build no fire tonight, too dangerous. Instead, you gather close under firs, eating what little dried meat remains. You press against your sister's side and pull the hide tight around your shoulders. "Will it reach us?" she whispers. You don't answer right away, because you don't know. "It might," you say. "But we'll already be gone." She nods, closes her eyes. You stare out into the night. The fire still burns behind you. The unknown stretches before you. But for now, in this narrow sliver of world, you are safe. The sun rises red. It doesn't creep over the horizon like before. It bleeds through the ash, casting strange shadows over the stone. The light feels wrong dull and heavy, like it's tired of shining. You wake with a tightness in your chest, not from smoke, from something else, a pressure in the air, as if the sky is holding its breath. You sit up on the ledge and stretch your arms, listening. The ridge is quiet. Your sister stirs beside you, rubbing her eyes, then resting her head against your shoulder. She hasn't spoken much since the first night. No one has. Words feel fragile out here, like they might break if spoken too loud. The tribe begins to stir, some sharpened sticks. Others gather the last of the dried roots and meat. Gray Fur walks the ridge edge, scanning the sky. His eyes are sharp, but his shoulders are heavy. You move out by mid-morning. The ridge is steep, and the path winds like a snake. Each step must be placed carefully. The stone is loose in places, and one slip could send you tumbling into the narrow gorge below. You move with your hands out, sometimes crawling, sometimes sliding. But the view keeps you going. The farther you rise, the more you see. Beyond the jagged teeth of the earth, the land does open up. Wide plains stretch as far as your eyes can reach, dotted with specks that might be trees or herds or shelter. The wind moves differently here, stronger, cooler. It cuts through the smoke like a blade. The mountain is behind you now, but its shadow still lingers. Every few minutes, a low growl rumbles beneath the stone, faint and far off. Not enough to shake the earth, but enough to remind you that the fire hasn't died. It's only waiting. At midday, the tribe pauses to rest beneath a large overhang in the ridge. The children drink from small water skins. You help your sister tie a new wrap around her fascias, coughing again. The ash may be thinner, but it still rides the wind. You sit with your back against the stone and pull out a scrap of smoked meat from your pouch. It's tough, but warm from your hand. You tear a piece off for your sister and watch as she eats in silence. Then movement. You spot it first. Far down below, across the lower slopes of the mountain, dark figures moving fast through the haze. At first you think it might be animals, boar, maybe, but there are too many. Moving in lines, organized, another tribe. You point, and soon others see them too. They're not chasing you, not yet, but they're headed in the same direction, away from the fire. They've lost their home too, Gray Fur says quietly. Someone beside you spits into the dirt. They won't share what they find. They may not have a choice, Gray Fur says. Neither will we. You nod slowly, eyes still locked on the distant figures. This path you're on, you're not the only ones walking it, and not everyone who flees fire carries peace with them. By late afternoon, you reach the final stretch of the ridge. One last climb before the land flattens again. The sun hangs low, blurred by ash. The sky is painted in smears of orange and gray. The air crackles with quiet energy. You climb, hand over hand, step by step. Your sister follows close behind, and you reach back to help her when the path narrows. Stones shift beneath your feet, but you hold steady. The tribe climbs in silence, breath short, limbs aching. And then you reach the top. The world opens. It takes your breath away. The plains stretch wide and endless. The wind is clean. The sky still, stained by the mountain's fury, begins to show streaks of blue between the smoke. And far in the distance, glinting in the last of the light, you see water, a river, a real one, wide, alive. It cuts through the plain like a silver snake, its path marked by clusters of green. Trees, shelter, maybe even food. You exhale for the first time all day. But something inside you knows this is not the end. The journey is long still, and the mountain isn't done yet. The descent begins just as the sun disappears. The ridge behind you casts a long shadow over the plain, but you don't stop to admire the view. There's no safety at the top knot, with the wind picking up. and not with the tremble you still feel beneath the soles of your feet. Gray Fur leads the way down. He tests each step with his staff before moving forward. You follow close behind, your sister's hand in yours. The slope is steep but smoother than the climb. The air smells clearer, her rain no longer thick with burning, but touched with the scent of grass and river mud. It feels like a different world. You wonder how long it will last. Halfway down, a stone shifts beneath your foot. You fall forward, hard, scraping your arm as you catch yourself on the rock. Your sister gasps but doesn't fall. You nod to her. I'm fine, and keep moving. No time to slow down. The sun may have set, but the fire behind you hasn't. As night falls fully, the tribe clusters together in the lower hills. No fire tonight. Even though the air is clean, even though the stone is cold, you can't risk it. Fire means light. Fire means smoke. And smoke might mean being seen by other tribes, by animals, by whatever else may be fleeing the mountain behind you. Instead, you wrap yourself in furs and settle against a large boulder. Your sister leans into you. Her breathing is slow. The others around you fall into restless sleep, but you stay awake, listening. The wind whistles through tall grass in the distance. A bird calls somewhere to the north. For a moment, everything feels almost peaceful, but then you hear it a distant rumble, a faint glow, just visible on the horizon behind the ridge you crossed. The fire is still chasing you. You try to sleep anyway. In the dream that comes, you are walking alone. The world is ash. The sky is red, and the river you saw from the mountaintop is boiling. When you kneel to drink, your reflection in the water is not your own. It is the mountain's face, and it is angry. You wake before dawn. Your heart is racing. The sky is dark, but not because of smoke. Just stars, no real stars, glimmering through thin clouds. You sit up, trying to shake the dream, and look around. A few others are awake. Gray Fur sits silently by himself, staring toward the horizon. One of the younger hunters bark eyes, sharpening a stone blade on his knee. Two mothers rock their children beneath thick wraps of hide. It's time to move. By morning, the tribe is marching again, this time across soft ground. The hills fall away behind you. The river, still distant, grows closer with each step. The grass rises to your knees. Insects hum in the warmth. You pass broken trees, scattered bones, and the faint tracks of animals who came before you. Then you see proof of life. A herd of large horned beasts grazes by the riverbank. Not mammoth. Smaller, long-faced, with thick fur and short tails. Maybe 20 of them, moving slowly, ears flicking. You crouch low in the grass, watching. Bison, gray. Fur whispers beside you. We follow them. You know what that means. Water, food, a trail to walk. Where animals go, humans have always followed. But not everyone is excited. What if they lead us into the path of fire? Barkeye asks, voice sharp. What if the other tribe is already following them? Gray. Fur's jaw tightens. We have no better guide. You agree. The bison know where the land is safe. They can sense danger long before your eyes or ears catch it. If they're here, drinking, feeding, resting it, means the fire hasn't reached this far. Not yet. The tribe moves slowly, using the tall grass to stay hidden. You stay near the back, watching the hills behind. Still no sign of the other tribe. No sign of ash or falling stone. Just quiet. Too quiet. By nightfall, you reach the edge of the river. It's wider up close, gentle, flowing steadily from the north. The water sparkles in the fading light, and the bison are gone, moved on, or hidden in the dark. You kneel at the bank and drink. It's cold. It tastes of life. You feel your skin and help your sister do the same. Around you, the others kneel, some weeping quietly, some dipping their hands into the current like they're touching something holy. It's the first clean water you've had in days, but as you look downstream, you see something caught in the reeds. A bundle, tied with rope, made of hide. You walk toward it carefully, heart pounding. It's not from your tribe. Another group has passed through here, and they're not far ahead. You crouch beside the bundle. It's soaked at the edges, tangled in reeds, but still mostly intact. The hide is tightly wrapped, stitched with long strands of sinew-deliberate work. Inside, you find charred wood chips, dried root slices, a smooth stone knife, and a water skin. The skin is nearly empty. They were traveling light. You glance upriver, then downstream. Whoever left this behind was in a hurry and not far ahead. You scan the tall grass across the water, looking for movement. Nothing. Just wind brushing over reeds, just the hush of the river. You don't call out. Instead, you carry the bundle back to the others. Grayfur examines it carefully. They're close, he says, and moving fast. Should we follow them? Someone asks. No, Grayfur replies. We follow the bison. You feel relief at his answer. There's no trust between tribes not when survival is thin. You don't want to find strangers. Not out here. Not when fire is still on your heels. That night, the tribe makes camp among a cluster of low trees near the river's bend. The branches shelter you from the wind. The sound of water nearby is comforting. You eat what's left of the dried meat and roots, sharing small pieces with your sister. Others chew quietly, staring into the dusk. A few whisper prayer-souled ones, meant to keep fire away and guard the spirit of the land. You don't sleep much. The stars shift above you, and your thoughts drift with them. What if the other tribe is following the same herds? What if they're desperate? What if they're not running from the fire but toward you? The next day, the bison trail becomes clear. Flattened grass, deep hoofprints. Dung still steaming in the early light. They're moving southeast, along the river, toward a distant grove where trees rise thicker and taller than any you've seen in weeks. You follow the trail. The herd knows where safety lies, and you trust them more than stories. The tribe stretches in a long line, no elders in the center. Hunters scouting both sides, children and mothers near the back. You walk close to Grayfur and Barkeye, listening as they murmur about tracks and wind and movement. Near midday, you come across a kill. One of the bison old, maybe injured, has been brought down. Not by animal claws, not by teeth, by stone. You crouch beside the carcass. Its flank is torn, but not savaged. A sharpened bone spear lies broken nearby. The meat is mostly gone, stripped clean with practiced hands. Someone used fire here. You see a ring of ash buried beneath leaves. They're close, you say quietly. Gray, Fur nods. They'll know we're close too. Barkeye grips his spear tighter. If they see us first, they might not wait to speak. You feel your chest tighten. This isn't just nature anymore. This is people. And people, when afraid, can be more dangerous than fire. Still, there's nowhere else to go. You keep following the bison trail. The land flattens again. The river widens and deepens, flowing faster now, curling like a snake across the grasslands. You pass old trees with burn marks, charred branches, and blackened roots, but nothing fresh. The fire hasn't reached here yet. You smell rain before you see it. The wind shifts. The sky darkens not from smoke, but from clouds. Heavy ones. You welcome it. Even the ash in your lungs seems to lift a little. Thunder rumbles low in the distance now, like the mountain, not like doom-just weather. Real, normal weather. The first drop strikes your forehead, then another, then dozens. A slow, cool rain falls across the land, hissing softly as it touches still warm stone. Children laugh. Even the elders smile. Some hold their faces to the sky, arms open. You don't run from it. You stand in it. Let it wash you clean. Your sister grabs your hand, smiling for the first time in days. The water slicks her hair, darkens her furs, but she doesn't care. No one does. It's not fire. It's not smoke. It's not fear. It's water. Real, falling water. By nightfall, the storm passes. The air smells fresh. The ground is soft, damp, alive. You camp again by the river. The fire risk is gone now, so you light small ones in a tight ring protected by stones. Warmth returns to tired limbs. Faces glow orange in the flicker. Someone sings, softly, an old song about the sky, about the earth, about surviving. You lie on your side, watching the flames dance. And for the first time since the mountain exploded, you feel something like peace. Even if it's only for a night, morning comes slowly, wrapped in mist. The rain has left the world quiet. The fire from the night before is nothing but glowing coals, nestled under a blanket of ash and wet stones. You stir beneath your hide wrap, feeling the coolness in your bones. For once, it's not the smoke that wakes you, it's the silence. You rise to your feet, rubbing your hands together, then stretch your arms overhead. Around you, the others begin to shift yawning, coughing, whispering softly. Your sister sits up beside you and wipes the dew from her face. You walk to the river's edge. It runs faster now, swollen from the rain. Bits of broken reed float by. The water is clear deeper than before, and the sound of it is comforting. You crouch, cup your hands, and drink. Then you see the tracks, fresh ones, not bison, human, bare feet, several sets, deep prints in the damp earth. Some large, some small, children. You glance up, scanning the far bank. The mist curls low along the ground, soft and silver. The trees beyond are silent. You hear nothing but the rush of the river and the waking rustle of your own people behind you. But you're not alone here. You return to camp quickly, bundle your things, and whisper to Greyfur what you saw. His eyes narrow. He says nothing, just places a hand on your shoulder and nods. The tribe is already moving by the time the mist begins to lift. Today's journey feels different, not because of the land it's still soft green damp with last night's rain, but because of the air. There's a weight to it now, a tension, as if the trees are holding secrets and the grass is listening. The bison trail curves inland. You follow it. It weaves through clusters of old trees, their bark dark from age, their branches thick with moss. The herd must have passed recently hoofprints, and droppings are everywhere, and fresh grazed patches dot the earth. By midday, the trail leads to a clearing. The grass is flattened here, and the scent of animal musk lingers heavy in the air. You spot tufts of fur on nearby branches, bits of torn up earth where hooves dug in. The herd rested here, not long ago. But something else rested here too. Charcoal. You crouch beside a blackened spot where someone built a fire. It's still warm. You brush your fingers across the stone ring. A few cracked bones lie nearby picked clean. Whoever passed through was smart, quiet, organized. They're close, Barkeye mutters. Closer than yesterday. Greyfur examines the tracks again. They're avoiding us, or watching us, someone says. You say nothing, but your hand tightens around your spear. That night, you camp further from the river beneath a long, curved ridge, where the trees grow in a thick wall, and the roots make natural beds in the earth. No one builds fires. No one sings. You post lookouts. You take a shift. For hours, you sit at the edge of camp, staring into the dark. The moon is thin, barely a sliver. Every shadow feels like a person. Every rustle feels like footsteps. But the forest remains still. Toward the end of your shift, you hear it. A splash. Far downstream. You rise slowly and walk to the edge of the ridge. From here, you can just make out the water glinting in the moonlight. Something moves near the bank. You crouch, holding your breath. Two figures, small, moving low. They crouch by the water, fill skins, and slip away, again disappearing into the trees. They didn't see you, but you saw them. And now you know. The other tribe is not only close, they're watching. You return to camp and wake Greyfur. They're not running, you whisper. They're following us. He nods. Then we don't stop, he says. At first light, we move fast. And you do. You don't wait for the sun. The tribe is already packing when the first hints of dawn touch the sky. No one speaks much. There's no fire, just the sound of hands tying satchels, soft footsteps on damp earth, and the hush of urgency moving from person to person like a chill. Gray, for his voice, is low but firm. We move with the herd. No noise, no stopping, no signs. You lead with the scouts today. Barkeye moves just ahead, scanning the trail for broken branches, fresh droppings, hoof marks, anything, to tell you which way the bison have gone. You stay behind him, watching the tree line more than the ground, watching for movement, because even though the fire hasn't reached you yet, the other tribe might. The forest grows denser as the trail curves east again. Trees here are older, taller. Their canopies create long tunnels of shade. The light falls in scattered beams across the mossy ground. It's beautiful quiet, green, peaceful, but you don't trust it. Neither does your sister. She stays close, her eyes darting to every bird call and snapping twig. She's no longer coughing. The rain and cleaner air have helped, but her face is thinner and her silence is deeper. You stop briefly to let the children drink from a stream that cuts through the forest floor. The water is clear, cold, fast-moving. You crouch and splash it on your face, trying to stay alert. Then you see something float by. A torn scrap of hide, tanned, stitched. A familiar weave. You reach for it and pull it out of the water. It's from your tribe, one of the water skins. You recognize the markings burned into the edge, your own symbol, carved by your father. But your water skin is still on your shoulder, which means they took it. You rise slowly. They were in our camp, you whisper. Gray Fur looks down at the hide, then toward the trees behind you. They're not just watching us, he says. They're learning us. That changes everything. The bison trail leads out of the forest around midday. You emerge into a wide stretch of open land-low grass, soft hills, tall reed beds swaying in the wind. The sky here is clearer. The ash is gone. The clouds are white. You spot the herd in the distance. Massive shapes, lumbering slow and steady, heads low to the ground. They move like shadows across the plain, a living map pointing toward water, shelter, food. The tribe breathes easier. The pace quickens. For a while, you almost forget about the other tribe. The mountain, even the fire. The sky is blue again. The grass brushes your legs gently. A soft breeze plays across your arms. You feel alive. You feel safe. But safety never lasts. By late afternoon, the wind changes. It blows from the west strong, warm and bitter. You taste it first. That sharp, acidic sting in the back of your throat. Not smoke, not yet, but something close. Something warning you. You climb a nearby hill to get a better look, and when you reach the top, your stomach drops. Far behind you, past the trees, past the hills rising above the horizon like a second sky smoke. Thick, black, climbing fast. The fire has found the forest. You scramble back down. The mountain's fire is moving again, you shout. Gray. Fur squints at the horizon, then nods. We need speed. No more stopping. No more hiding. Even at night? Someone asks. He doesn't answer. He doesn't have to. You move. The tribe tightens its line. The children are carried. The elderly are supported by younger arms. Everyone walks faster. Feet pound the grass. Satchels bounce against backs. Breath comes hard and fast. Your sister struggles to keep up. You give her your skin and carry her pack. No one speaks now. No birds. No songs. Just feet, breath, and the wind, the low, distant roar of fire coming through trees. You don't stop when the sun sets. You keep moving through twilight, and when the stars rise, you're still walking because the mountain is not done. Because survival does not rest. Because you've come too far to be swallowed now. The night swallows the land. You keep walking. The stars above flicker through wisps of cloud, and the moon hangs high and pale. Its light helps, but only a little. The grasslands stretch into shadow, and every rock looks like movement, every bush like a figure waiting in silence. Your legs burn, your breath is shallow, but you don't stop. No one does. Even the children too tired to speak, too heavy to carry for long hold on, walking with vacant eyes and clenched jaws. The tribe has never moved like this before. Not without rest, not without pause. But the smoke behind you rises higher with every hour. The forest is gone. The fire is real. By midnight, the herd disappears into the distance again. You can't keep pace. The bison vanish into darkness beyond the hills, and the grass rises thicker heritol enough to hide them, tall enough to hide anything. You keep moving anyway. You trust their trail. Just before dawn, the land changes again. The plains dip into shallow valleys, carved long ago by water or wind. You descend into one, and the grass fades away, replaced by dry earth, scattered stone, and twisted trees with no leaves. It's cooler here, quieter, but not in a peaceful way, in a watchful way. You stop. Gray Fur raises a hand. The tribe gathers near a large, dead tree, with roots like claws gripping the earth. You sit on a stone, your sister leaning against you, already half asleep. Then Barkai returns from scouting ahead. He's out of breath, eyes wide. "There's a camp," he says. Everyone stiffens. He points east. Smoke. Small fires. Circle of stones. Fresh. "How far?" Gray Fur asks. "Half a ridge, maybe less." You exchange glances with the others. They've stopped running too. Maybe they thought the fire would veer away. Maybe they thought you would never catch up. Or maybe they're waiting. "We don't go near it," Gray Fur says. "We keep moving. At first light, we break east and circle wide." You agree, but a part of you wonders, why stop now? They've stayed hidden this long, careful, smart. Why build a fire? Why rest in the open? Unless they want to be found. You sleep in shifts. When it's your turn, you don't truly rest. You sit with your back to the dead tree, one hand on your spear, eyes drifting between the stars and the horizon. The wind has shifted again. You smell fire, faint but steady. The heat is chasing both tribes now. Before sunrise, Gray Fur wakes the tribe. You leave the valley and climb the ridge in silence, curving east. The camp is still far, just a dull orange glow behind a curtain of trees. But you don't risk getting closer. Instead, you press into new land. The ground here is different, drier, cracked in places. The grass thins, trees become rare, birds don't sing here. Even the insects seem quiet. You begin to feel it again, that low hum in the earth. Like the mountain's breath, miles beneath your feet. The volcano is still far behind, but its reach is long. Its veins run deep. Gray Fur stops beside a long line of dark stone that cuts through the earth like a scar. He crouches and touches it. "Lava rock," he says. You know the word, you've heard it in stories. Stone that once flowed like water, hot enough to melt the world. The earth bears the memory of ancient fires. What you're walking through now, this cracked land, was once burned by the same mountain long ago. The tribe walks slower now. Everyone feels it. This land remembers pain. By noon, you reach your rise, and what you see on the other side pulls the breath from your lungs. A canyon, not a deep one, but wide, jagged, cut into the land like it was clawed open. At the bottom, more lava stone, charred trees. No clear way down, no easy way across. The bison trail leads directly to it and stops. Your sister takes your hand. You say nothing, neither does anyone else. Because now, there's only one question. Do you go down into the broken earth, or turn back and face the fire? You stand at the edge of the canyon. It yawns below you like an open mouth, jagged, black, and ancient. No trees grow down there, no grass, Just broken stone, cracked earth, and the winding scar of a land once touched by fire. The air rising from below is still and dry. Dust clings to your skin. The bison trail ends here. They didn't go around. They went through. You crouch near the ledge and look for signs. Deep prints, dislodged rocks, a few broken twigs along the slope. They climbed down carefully. They knew the way, or they remembered it. This was once a river, Grey Fur murmurs behind you. Long ago, before the fire. You nod. The rocks tell the story smooth in places, as if worn by water long gone. Nature's memory carved into stone. The tribe gathers in silence. No one speaks the question out loud, but you all feel it. If the bison made it down, can you? You go first. You sling your spear across your back. Tighten the straps of your pack, and test the slope with your hands. Loose stones scatter beneath your feet. The descent is steep. The ridge crumbles in places. You move slow, placing each step with care. About halfway down, you slide on loose gravel. You fall to one knee, skin scraping against the sharp edge of rock. Blood beads instantly. You grit your teeth and keep moving. Behind you, others begin to follow Grey Fur, Barkeye, your sister held by the arm of one of the elder women. The descent takes half the day. By the time your feet touch the canyon floor, the sky is beginning to fade from blue to amber. Shadows stretch long across the stone. The walls of the canyon rise like broken teeth on either side, casting deep shade over everything below. You pause to breathe. The air is cooler here, but not in a way that comforts. It feels trapped, like it hasn't moved in a long time. The wind doesn't reach this far. The silence here is absolute. You move forward. The ground is uneven layers of old lava rock, overlapped by dried mud and dust. The trail winds narrowly between boulders and sudden drops. You see no animals, no tracks, no movement, just a path cut into stone. The tribe follows in a long, careful line. Children cling to adults. The elderly move slowly. Barkeye keeps watch behind, his spear in hand. You walk near the front, eyes scanning every corner, every crevice. It's hard not to feel watched in a place like this. After an hour, the walls begin to narrow. The space closes in. You squeeze through a tight bend where two slabs of black rock nearly touch overhead. Your shoulders brush the stone. The air smells different, hair-dry and metallic, like rusted water. Then you hear something. A faint crack. You freeze. Everyone stops behind you. The sound echoes faintly from ahead. Not loud, not close, but clear. Stone on stone, a footstep. You grip your spear tighter and move forward, slowly. Rounding a corner, you find the source. Not a person, not an animal, but a structure. A ring of blackened stones, charcoal, ash, long cooled. A fire pit, and beside it, bones. Small ones, cleaned. You crouch near the ring. The bones are cracked open marrow drawn out. You've seen this before. Survival work, nothing wasted. The pit is old but not ancient. Weeks maybe. No moss, no rot, just abandonment. They've been here, you whisper. Gray, Fur crouches beside you, touching the edge of the pit. Maybe they went deeper, he says, or maybe they couldn't climb out. You don't ask what he means. You know, the canyon could be a trap, a place with no exit, a place where people stop moving and fade. You rise and look ahead. The path continues, winding, narrow, darker now. You press forward. You have no choice, because the fire behind you climbs hills, and this is the only way through. Hours pass. The walls open slightly, and there, just ahead in a space shaped like a bowl, ringed by flat stone, you find something unexpected. Green. A patch of moss. Faint, soft, growing in a shaded pocket where water drips from a crack in the wall. The tribe hurries forward. You kneel beside it. Touch it gently. Life. Still here, still growing. Your sister smiles for the first time since the rain. And you know, even in burned places, life finds a way to hold on. You wake in shadow. The walls of the canyon still loom on either side, high and dark. There is no sunrise, here only the soft glow of morning drifting in from above, thin and pale like old smoke. The air is cool, but still. Heavy. You stretch your legs. Your muscles ache. The stone beneath you is unforgiving. But the moss patch is still there, a reminder that something can live here, that you can. You eat what little food you have, left some root pieces, a few strips of dried meat. Your sister chews quietly, her face still pale, but stronger than before. She touches the stone wall, as if it might speak. The others wake one by one. No one lingers. Gray fur leads the way, his steps slower today. The canyon twists like a river, turning and narrowing in ways that make you lose track of direction. The walls sometimes lean inward, as if the earth itself wants to close in and swallow you whole. You follow the path in silence. Every sound echoes every footstep, every cough, every breath. You speak less and less, afraid your own voice might break something invisible holding the place together. By midday, the canyon changes. You reach a section where the floor dips into a natural bowl, and the stone shifts color from black to dark red. Volcanic clay, cracked in a web beneath your feet. Barkeye stops and kneels. "This is fresh," he says, "too fresh." You kneel beside him. The cracks are still warm. You press your palm to the earth and feel it. A pulse, faint, slow but real. Beneath your feet, the mountain still breathes. Grayfur frowns. "We don't rest here." You move on quickly. The canyon narrows again, then opens into a wide space split in the rock, almost like a forgotten arena. The walls here are scorched. You see black marks, flaking stone. Fire passed through here once. Not long ago. And then, a smell. Faint, rot. You spot it before the others do, just off the main trail, half hidden behind a boulder. A body. Not from your tribe. An older man, wrapped in hides, now torn and weather-worn. His skin is gray. His hands frozen around a broken spear. You crouch beside him. His eyes are closed. His face twisted in pain, but not fear. There are no wounds, no signs of battle, just stillness. Your sister approaches slowly. She stares at the body, then looks up at you. "What happened to him?" You shake your head. Maybe he was left behind. Maybe he stayed behind. Maybe he knew something. You take the spear. It's cracked, but usable. The head is still sharp. You give it to Barkeye, who nods in thanks but doesn't speak. You bury the man in silence. A shallow cairn of stones. No words, just stillness. Then you move on. By late afternoon, the canyon begins to rise. Not steeply, but enough that your legs burn again. The earth beneath your feet becomes more stable, less cracked. You feel the wind now, faint but rising. You're nearing the edge. You're close. The sun spills weak light across the walls as they pull back. You see higher sky. The air smells faintly of grass again. Then you hear it birds, the first in days. You climb faster, one step at a time. The slope steepens. The wind rushes in harder now, and it smells like rain, like trees, like life. You push up over the final ridge of stone, your sister close behind you, and then you're out. The canyon spills into a wide plateau covered in golden grass. The plains stretch before you, vast and untouched. You drop to your knees and breathe deep. The air feels different here. Clean, light. The others emerge behind you, gasping, some weeping. Grayfur simply stands, with his eyes closed, arms stretched out like he's greeting an old friend. But your joy is short-lived, because when you turn to the east far on the horizon, you see smoke, not like the mountains. This is thinner, whiter, controlled. Another fire. Another camp. You're not the only ones who made it out. The wind brushes your face, soft and cool. You kneel in the grass just beyond the canyon's mouth, eyes locked on the distant smoke curling up into the pale sky. It moves in slow spirals, no panic, no rush, a controlled fire, a signal of life, but not your life. Another tribe. They made it out too. You don't speak, you don't need to. Everyone has seen it. Greyfur steps forward, squinting toward the horizon. They're no longer running, he says. They're settling. Then they believe the fire is done, Barkeye mutters. You glance over your shoulder back at the canyon, back at the invisible path that leads to the mountain. The sky behind you is quiet. The air carries no smoke, but you've seen how quickly the world can change. Your sister tugs gently at your arm. Are we going there? You don't answer. Not yet. Greyfur speaks again. We rest here. We wait. Let them show us who they are before we show them who we are. The tribe moves into the tall grass, settling in the shade of a large stone outcropping. It curves low to the ground, like a natural shelter, half cave, half roof. You collect dried grass and build soft bedding. The children sleep first. You drink from your skin. The water is warm, but clean. The clay walls of the canyon protected it well. You make a mental note. You'll need more soon. That night, no one sings. You keep the fires small, hidden. The stars above you blink slowly into view, one by one, stretching across the sky like scattered embers. You sleep beside your sister, holding your spear in one hand, and you dream of fire moving through grass. You wake to footsteps, not running, approaching. You sit up instantly, heart quickening. The morning sky is pale gray. The wind is picked up, moving the grass in waves. You grip your spear and rise. Barkeye is already standing. He points silently to the south. Two figures, walking through the grass, slowly, not hiding. One carries a short spear. The other has a bundle of wrapped hides slung across their shoulder. Their bodies are lean, covered in soot and dust, but not wounded messengers. Greyfur steps forward calmly and holds up an open hand, a gesture of peace. They stop a few paces away. The taller one speaks first. His voice is hoarse, but strong. We saw your fires. You say nothing. Neither does Greyfur. You wait. We are not hunting, the man says. We are not taking. We only want to live. Greyfur lowers his hand slightly. How many are you? Fewer than before, the man replies. 15, maybe 17. We lost count. You nod. You know what that means. They buried too many. The man kneels and unwraps the bundle. Inside it read fish, tubers, 2 stone tools. He pushes them forward. Food. Trade. For peace. Gray. Fur steps forward. Crouches. Examines the offerings. After a moment, he nods. Peace, he says. No handshake. No cheers. No rituals. Just the word. Spoken and heard. The strangers lower their heads in thanks. But you remain tense. Because peace is a choice. And peace can break. The tribes camp at a distance. Yours under the stone outcrop. Theirs in the hills beyond. 2 fires. 2 groups. 2 paths now joined by the same disaster. Later that day, Greyfur calls you aside. You saw more than most, he says. You felt the fire before it came. You knew where the animals would go. You look at him, unsure what to say. He lays a hand on your shoulder. We need eyes forward now, not just behind. You nod slowly. Go east, he says, before the sun rises tomorrow. See if the land will take us farther. You understand. The fire may have passed, but the world is still shifting, and survival doesn't wait for smoke to clear. So, that night, while the others sleep, you pack lightly. A spear, a skin of water, a sharp flint, and just before the sky turns gold, you step into the tall grass alone, walking toward what comes next. The morning air is crisp. Cool wind slips through the grass, as you move alone, each step careful, silent. The horizon ahead is a dull line of rising sun and unbroken plains. Behind you, the two camps shrink into the past. Ahead just land, sky, and whatever waits beyond the next rise. You don't look back. You walk for hours, moving with the rhythm of the wind. The grass hums softly, swaying at your knees. Every now and then, a bird leaps from a hidden nest. A small lizard scurries across your path. Life is returning here, but you don't trust the calm. Not yet. You crest a low hill and pause. The land dips into a wide valley wetter, greener. A few scraggly trees dot the basin, their branches twisted but alive. At the center of the valley runs a river not wide, but fast and clear, cutting clean through the middle. And near the riverbank, footprints. You descend quietly, crouching low as you move through the grass. At first, you think they're bison tracks, broad, heavy. But these are different. Longer, straighter, human, more than a few. You find a circle of flattened grass near the river where a group must have rested. The ashes of a cold fire pit lie buried in the dirt. A charred fishbone, still split clean down the center, rests beside it, but no sign of who made them. You crouch and press your hand to the earth. The pit is cold. The grass has just begun to rise again. Maybe a day, maybe two. Not your people, not the ones from the canyon. A third tribe. Your pulse quickens. You scan the area. There are no tents, no tools, no dropped satchels. These people moved fast and clean. Scouts? Hunters? Or were they running too? You follow the trail upriver, careful not to disturb it. The path curves toward a thin line of trees ahead. As you approach, you spot something caught in the low branches of a bush. Cloth, roughly woven, dyed faintly with reddish pigment. A strip torn clean across the middle. It's not from your tribe, not from the other survivors either. Your breath catches. Whoever left this was close and not careful. You take the cloth and tuck it into your satchel. It may mean nothing, but in this world, nothing often means something. You decide not to press farther. The signs are clear enough. There are more people here, more survivors, more competition. You turn back toward camp, careful to walk a new path leave. No trail that others might follow. The journey back takes most of the day. The sun climbs high, then begins to fall behind your shoulder. Your legs ache, but your mind runs faster than your steps. What happens when too many survivors reach the same stretch of land? When the rivers are few, when the herds grow thin? By the time you reach camp, the air is cool again. The two tribes remain in their separate spaces, but the distance feels thinner. Children now wave across the field. Two women from each group kneel beside the same stream to wash hides. But Grayfer waits for you near the fire. You hand him the cloth. He studies it. More. You nod. You priver. 1 or 2 days ahead. Quiet. Organized. He looks out across the plains, eyes narrow. Then he speaks softly. We escaped the fire, but now we walk in a place where old laws return. You know what he means. The mountains scattered people, but now the survivors gather. And where people gather, there will be choices. You wake to raise voices, not shouting, but firm. Two Minone from your tribe, one from the other stand, facing each other at the edge of the stream. Between them, a net full of fish dangles from a forked branch stuck into the mud. Not much, maybe 4, maybe 5, enough to feed a few children. But both tribes claim them. You rise and step closer. Others gather too. No weapons are drawn, but hands are tense. Fingers twitch in your spear handles. The air feels heavier than it did yesterday. Grayfer arrives, calm as always. He doesn't speak at first. He just looks. At the fish, at the men, at the children now sitting quietly behind their parents, wide-eyed and waiting. We caught them, says Barkeye, with our stones. Our net. They swam into our side, the other man replies. We waited all morning. Gray. Fur walks between them. He reaches into the net and pulls out a fish. Then another. He hands one to each man. Then both tribes eat, he says. And no one fights over food while the mountain still burns behind us. The tension breaks, but only barely. The other man nods once and steps back. Your people watch him go, quiet but watchful. You return to your sister and sit beside her in the grass. She says nothing, but you see the worry on her face. This is how it starts. By midday, the feeling hasn't passed. You sense it in the way people avoid each other's eyes, in the way tools are gathered tighter, how hunting groups go out with more guards than before. The open land suddenly feels smaller. Later that day, Gray Fur calls a council. Both tribes sit in a wide circle between the stones. No fire, just people. Quiet voices, careful words. We can't stay long, Gray Fur says. Food is thin. The herds don't graze here. The soil is dry. The river is too fast. Then we move? Someone asks. Heads turn, eyes narrow. To where? Another voice says. More people walk these plains. We found signs of them. What if we move toward danger? We are already in it, Gray Fur replies. You step forward. You explain what you saw the third tribe upriver, organized, moving quickly. You show them the cloth. Some murmur. Others stare in silence. This land is not empty, Gray Fur says, and peace is not made by waiting. He looks to the others. We need to act before fear does. A silence follows. Then a woman from the other tribe stands. She carries a small child on her hip. Her voice is quiet but sure. If we share food, we share the path. Gray Fur nods. Another voice. And if they don't want peace, his reply, then at least we chose it first. You don't know if it's wisdom or hope, but it's something. That night, you sit near the fire and watch the wind ripple through the grass. The mountain is far behind now, but its presence is still etched into the backs of your eyelids every time you close them. Your sister rests her head on your shoulder. You think they'll follow us? She asks. The third tribe? She nods. You stare into the flames. If they're like us, they already are. The fire is small when you wake, just flickering embers under a pile of ash and stone. Morning dew clings to your hair. Your breath rises in the air. The warmth from the flames is almost gone, but something else keeps your blood moving. The decision has been made. Today, both tribes move. You stand and stretch, watching the others pack what little they have. Water skins, tools, scraps of hide and twine. One man carefully rolls dried leaves in a bundle of bark. Another secures a basket of crushed herbs to his back. Children rub sleep from their eyes, clinging to mothers, to older siblings. Gray Fur walks past you and nods. You nod back. There is no speech, no ritual, just movement. Because in times like this, movement is survival. The march begins as the sun crests the far hills. The river is at your back now, winding like a forgotten story across the land. You follow the herd paths deep, carved trails pressed into the ground over generations. The grass parts before your feet, still damp, still humming with early light. You walk at the front, your sister beside you, Bark-Eye to your right. A few scouts from the other tribe just ahead. No one speaks, but the silence is not tense. It's focused, tired, together. For now. By midday, the plains begin to shift. The hills roll steeper. The grass gives way to low brush and scattered stones. The sky darkens not with storm, but with smoke. Thin, distant, from behind, or from beyond, you can't tell. You keep walking. The sun moves overhead, then starts to fall. You pass patches of dry earth, small streams, one ancient tree bent sideways from years of wind. Birds circle above wide, winged and silent, and then movement. One of the scouts raises his hand. Everyone stops. You crouch low and follow his gaze. Ahead, the land splits. A long depression in the earth, maybe 30 steps wide. Not a canyon shallower than that, but deep enough to trap anyone who stumbles. Thorny shrubs line its edges. Rock outcroppings jut from both sides. At the center, a glint. Water. A shallow pool, shaded by stone, likely fed by a spring, and around it tracks. You move closer. The prints are large, broad, hoofed, but not bison. Wider, deeper. You crouch beside them and press your fingers into the dirt, too fresh. Gray Four joins you. Oros, he says quietly, short-tempered, stubborn. You've heard of them, massive beasts with curved horns. Known to charge, known to kill, even when unprovoked. We can't go around the depression, someone says. Too far, not with children. You know they're right. The only way forward is through. Gray Fur turns to the group. We move slow, quiet, no shouting, no running. You grip your spear tighter. You step into the basin. The earth changes immediately. Softer, muddier. Each step sinks. Your feet squelch in the wet ground. The reeds rustle in the wind. You pass the edge of the pool and feel the tension in your bones. Something watches. You don't see it, but you feel it. A rumble. Low. You freeze. Across the basin half, hidden behind a cluster of stona, massive form rises. Brown hide, streaked with mud. 2 curled horns. Heavy shoulders. Angry eyes. The aurochs sees you and snorts. You don't move. No one does. The aurochs stands perfectly still, massive, quiet, waiting. Its flanks twitch with muscle. Its breath steams in the cool afternoon air. For a heartbeat, the world around you vanishes. No grass, no tribe, no sky. Just you and the beast. It lowers its head slightly. A warning. You raise your hand behind you, signaling the tribe to stop. Slowly, carefully. Your sister freezes, only a few paces behind you. Gray Fur whispers low behind your shoulder. It's alone. That's worse. A lone aurochs is a storm with no sky to hold it. You shift your weight, ever so slightly, pressing one bare foot into the soft earth. You've hunted before, but never something this big. Never something that could turn you into prey. The beast snorts again. Then it stamps. The ground trembles. Someone behind you gasps. Too loud. Too sharp. The aurochs jerks its head toward the sound. Its hooves dig deeper into the mud. You whisper. Move back. Now. Gray Fur touches the arm of the woman nearest him, guiding her away, step by step. Barkeye slowly draws a stone-tipped spear from his back. The scouts take positions on either side of the pool. The beast snorts once more. Then it charges. Time fractures. The aurochs thunders forward, each step pounding into the basin like falling stones. You don't think. You move. Left, you shout, swinging your arm wide. The tribe scatters. Just in time, the beast barrels past you. Head low, horns sharp, breath hissing through clenched teeth. It crashes through a bush and skids against the stone on the far side of the pool. Mud sprays, stones tumble. Then it turns again. It's not confused. It's choosing its next target, your sister. She's frozen, halfway up the slope, too far from the others, too far from you. The beast huffs once, lowers its head and runs. You don't think. You sprint across the mud, arms pumping, shouting as loud as your lungs will let you. Hey! It hears you. Just as you hoped. It swerves. Too sharp. Its hooves slide on the wet earth. It crashes shoulder first into a low boulder, stumbles, and collapses into the mud. Its bulk rolling once before it lands heavily on its side. The ground goes still. You stop, breathless, trembling. Your sister stumbles into your arms. The aurochs groans. tries to rise then stops. It's breathing, but not moving. Behind you, the tribe begins to gather again, slow and wide-eyed. Greyfur steps forward, nodding once. You turned it. You shake your head. I distracted it. Barkeye kneels beside the beast. His voice is quiet. Broken leg, maybe two. The aurochs stares back, eyes still fierce. Grey. Fur looks to you. It will not walk again. You know what comes next. Food, enough for days. Maybe more, but taking it means staying here. Fire, noise, blood, risk. You look to the horizon. The smoke is faint, but still rising. Somewhere beyond the hills, the land may still burn. But here, now, is survival. That night, the tribe builds its largest fire in weeks. The aurochs lies still under the stars, its life given back to the people who walk the land. You help with the cutting deep, careful strokes across thick hide. The meat is rich, heavy, hot. Bones are cleaned and cracked. Fat is stored in bark skins. Your sister eats with both hands. She hasn't done that in days. Around the fire, even the other tribe smiles. There's laughter. There's breath. There's silence that feels earned, not feared. Greyfur sits beside you, chewing slowly. You saved her, he says. She froze. You reply. And you didn't. You don't answer. But you think of the mountain, of fire, of the ground cracking beneath your feet. You didn't freeze then either. The fire crackles low beside you. Its light dances on your skin, warm but soft. Most of the tribe has already fallen asleep, bellies full, bodies draped in hides, breaths deep and steady. Even the air is different now. It doesn't sting. It doesn't taste like ash. It tastes like rest. You lie back against a folded fur wrap, staring up at the stars, clearer than they've been in weeks. Sharp points of silver in a sky so wide it feels like it might pull you into it. Your sister curls up near your hip, her breath quiet and even. For the first time in many days, your thoughts slow. No fire, no thunder, no stampeding beast. Only silence, only space. You close your eyes and dream. You are walking through tall grass, alone but not afraid. The wind moves like it remembers you. The earth under your feet is firm and warm. The sky is deep purple, streaked with soft reds. You follow a trail, but not one made by animals. It's older, worn into the land like a scar. Then you see them, figures in the distance, shadows wrapped in furs, seated in a circle of standing stones. You walk toward them. They do not move. You recognize none of their faces, and yet you know them. Old ones, the people before, ancestors. One of them stands. A tall man, his face painted in streaks of black ash, his chest marked with faded cuts like rivers on skin. He raises one arm and points not at you, but beyond you. You turn, and behind you, the mountain burns. But this time, you're not afraid, because around the flames are hands. Dozens, hundreds, pressed into cave walls, pressed into memory, painted with earth and blood. You wake with your heart steady, not racing, steady. The fire beside you has burned low, just red coals now. The sky above is a pale blue, the first hint of morning. Your sister still sleeps, but you feel different. You rise quietly and walk to the edge of the camp, where the grass meets the stone. Greyfur is already there. He doesn't turn to look at you. I saw them, you say. The old ones. You nod. He nods too. I used to think dreams were just hunger talking, he says. But not out here. Not after all we've seen. You sit beside him. Together you watch the wind pass over the field, bending the tall grass like waves across the sea. There was a time when the mountain tried to end us before, he says. But someone survived, because someone always survives. You touch your fingers to the dirt. It was never just the strong, you whisper. No, Greyfur says, it was the ones who remembered. Later that morning, The two tribes gather to begin packing again. The meat is wrapped in leaves and hide. The bones are bundled for tools. The hide of the aurochs is too large to carry whole, so it's split. Some for warmth, some for trade, some to stretch and dry for drums. You take one strip and begin carving a line into it with a flint blade. Not a symbol, not a word, just a line to mark the days, the walk, the survival. A mark that says, "We were here." That afternoon, the tribe begins to move again. East, always east. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you still see the dream. The painted hands, the circle of stone, the mountain, not as enemy but as memory. The grass begins to darken beneath your feet. Not with ash, not with shadow, with mud. At first, it's soft, just, damp patches that suck lightly at your heels. Then, as the land dips lower, the ground becomes spongy. The tall grasses grow thicker, greener. The birds vanish again. You hear it before you see it. Water. Not a river knot this time. A bog. A marsh. The trail narrows into soft ridges of ground that twist between shallow pools. The water is dark, still, covered in floating leaves and clouds of gnats that rise like smoke as you pass. You pause. Barkeye crouches ahead, poking the ground with a stick. "It's walkable," he says, "but not safe." Gray Fur frowns. "If we turn back, we waste days. If we go around, we lose the bison trail." He looks to you. You step forward and test the path yourself. The ground holds but only just. You lift your foot, and water follows like it wants to keep you. "We move fast," you say. "Light. Single file." He nods. And so the tribe moves. The first few steps are fine. The ground is squishy, but holds. You move in silence, feet careful, arms out for balance. The reeds rise tall on both sides, taller than a man, brushing against your chest and shoulders. You lose sight of the others if they're more than a few steps ahead. The marsh smells strange. Not like rot knot yet, but like old water that's forgotten how to move. You try not to breathe too deeply. Your sister grips your hand as she walks behind you. Her steps are small, but sure. Behind her, others follow, whispering only when they must. Then someone sinks. A sharp yelp breaks the silence. You spin around. One of the scout's young, narrow-faced seedies, chest deep in black mud. He struggles, kicking, gasping. You rush toward him, drop to your knees, and grab his wrist. "Don't fight it," Gray Fur barks. "Flatten, lie back." The scout spreads his arms, and the mud stops pulling. With bark, eyes help. You drag him out, inch by inch, until he's on firmer ground, soaked to the bone and shivering. His legs are caked in thick muck. The satchel is gone, but he's alive. You look down into the hole he left, still bubbling, waiting. You step around it and keep moving. Hours pass. The sun climbs high, then hides behind thick gray clouds. The marshland stretches on longer than expected. You ration water carefully ironically, surrounded by more than you can drink. Every pool is still and dark, reflecting your own face back like a stranger. Then the rain starts, not heavy, but steady. Fine drops falling from a sky that can't decide if it wants to cry or whisper. The reeds shake. The paths flood faster. Your legs are soaked to the knee now. Your spear feels heavier. Every step takes more effort than the last. And then lightning, far off, but close enough to feel in your chest. You hear the thunder roll like a growl behind the clouds. You need high ground. Fast. You spot it near dusk. A rise in the land, barely visible through the reeds. A cluster of dark stone and twisted trees growing out of a dry hump of earth. A place where the ground looks firm. You push toward it, calling the others softly. The tribe clambers up one by one, dripping, shivering. The fire won't start. Too wet. So you huddle together beneath the trees, using furs and bark to shelter the little ones. You sit close to your sister, your legs numb, your stomach aching. Rain patters above, and thunder rumbles again closer now. Barkeye stares at the horizon. "There's more water coming," he says. You nod. This wasn't the end of the storm, only the beginning. The rain doesn't stop. By morning, it has become something else heavier, louder, angrier. No longer soft, no longer falling, it lashes the trees, soaks the hides, beats against your skull like fists of sky. You wake in a puddle. Your back aches. Your hair drips into your eyes. The earth beneath you, once solid, is now a sponge. You look around. The rise of stone where you camped has shrunk overnight. The marsh is swelling. Water now touches the toes of the sleeping children. The river has found you again. Your sister clutches your arm. "Will it keep rising?" she whispers. You glance at the sky. Dark. Endless. "Yes," you say. Gray fur gathers the tribes together under the largest tree. "This is not fire," he says, "but it will drown us all the same if we do nothing." You watch the water creeping higher. It floods the trails you crossed only yesterday. Patches of grass vanish beneath the surface. The wind bends the reeds sideways. Insects buzz higher to escape the flood. You feel it in your chest urgency. "This place was always meant to sink," someone mutters. And they're right. You need height, or you need something that floats. You think of the logs from earlier, the dry ones further back, near the base of the marsh. Barkeye had noticed them. Hollow, light, trapped between the reeds. You turn to Grayfur. "We can build something." He looks at you. "Float?" You nod. "Enough to carry supplies, children, even elders." There is no time to test, only to try. The tribe splits into groups. Some cut reeds long, straight ones that grow thickest at the edge of the flooded path. Others drag fallen logs from the marsh rim. You take the sharpest flint blades and begin stripping bark, tying bundles, weaving grass cords with your sister's help. By midday, the water is knee-high in the camp. The children are lifted onto shoulders. Food skins are hoisted into trees. One of the scouts climbs high and points north. "There," he calls. "Stone, dry land." You squint through the rain. Faint, but visible. A black patch in the distance. A natural rise. You don't know how far it is. Maybe a half-day's walk. Maybe too far. But it's the only hope. The raft must be ready. By afternoon it is. Rough, uneven, lashed with grass and sinew. Made from 3 logs and bundles of reeds woven into mats. It's no boat, but it might carry a child, or an elder, or food that would spoil if soaked. You test it in the water. It floats. Barely, but it floats. Grayfur gives the signal. The tribe begins to move again, wading through waist-deep marsh. Pushing the raft ahead, carrying children on shoulders, dragging tools and meat satchels overhead. You walk near the front, water sloshing against your thighs. The ground is gone now. You step only where you can see. Twice, someone stumbles. Once, a young boy slips beneath the surface only for a second, but long enough to send panic through the line. You pull him up yourself, coughing and shivering. You don't stop. By nightfall, the storm fades, but the water remains. And at last, just as the stars break through cracks in the clouded sky, you reach the rise. Stone. Real, dry, jagged, and dark, and beautiful. You collapse onto it, pulling your sister beside you, feeling the weight of wet skin and aching bone. The raft bumps against the stone, half sinking now. But it got you here. Everyone breathes like they've just escaped a second death. You lie back, staring up. And for the first time in days, there is no fire, no flood, just the sky. And breath, and survival. The stone beneath you is warm. Not from sun there is none yet, but from the earth itself. You feel it when you press your palms down an ancient heat, faint but steady, like the breath of something sleeping far below. Not dangerous, not now, but present, alive. The tribe lies scattered across the stone rise, some curled under hides, others draped over one another for warmth. The raft floats nearby, half sunken but still tethered with vine to a jutting root. The water has stopped rising. You've survived again. But the land isn't finished speaking. You wake early, too early. Something pulls you from sleep, not sound, not light, but instinct. You stand quietly and walk toward the far edge of the stone rise, where the grass hasn't yet overtaken the cracks in the rock. The stone here is different, smoother, blacker, almost polished by time. Then you see it, a line, not natural, carved. You kneel and run your fingers across it. It's shallow but deliberate cut into the rock by sharp hands long before yours. You follow the groove and find more. Shapes, spirals, hands, animal forms, symbols, a path. You call Gray Fur. He kneels beside you and places his hand on one of the spirals. "I've seen this before," he says. "Where?" "On the far cliffs where the sun dies. My grandfather took me once. The old ones left marks there too." You trace the spiral again. "This is older than us," you say. "Older than the fire," he replies. Others gather now, circling the stones, silent. Children touch the carvings with wide eyes. Even Bark Eye says nothing. Then your sister points to one shape. A long line of marks like raindrops, and beside them, a wide open arc. "Water," she whispers. "Flood." You step back, and the story becomes clear. This is not the first time the land drowned, and the ones who walked before you, they left this behind. Not just as art, as a warning. Gray Fur sits beside you, his voice low. "The mountain does not only bring fire, it melts the snow, breaks the sky, turns rivers wild." You nod. "They didn't just flee," you say. "They remembered." He presses his hand into one of the carvings, a wide eye with a flame at its center. "We have to remember too." Later that day, the water begins to recede, slowly. The wind carries mist across the marsh, and dry ground peeks through in scattered patches below. Small animals return, frogs, insects, birds with long legs. The world is healing, piece by piece. But the tribe is already packing. No one speaks of staying. You wrap meat in dried bark, tie sharp flints into bone handles, weave reed rope tighter for a new raft. You break off a piece of stone from the edge of the carving and slip it into your pucha reminder, a story you will carry forward. As the sun sets, you take one last walk across the stone rise. You place your palm over the carved handprint nearest the edge. Yours is smaller, newer, but still part of it. You close your eyes and silently promise, "I will remember." The land dries faster than you expect. By the third day, the water has retreated almost completely, leaving behind a soft layer of silt that cracks beneath your feet. The reeds no longer sway with water. They rustle in the breeze like brittle paper. The raft is left behind, half sunken in the last pool, its vines loosened and curling like shed snakeskin. The tribe walks again, east, always east. But the grass grows shorter. The trees disappear. The birds fly higher, and the world begins to stretch out flat and wide and silent. By midday, the marsh is gone. Ahead, the earth becomes hard and cracked. A great plain of reddish soil and scattered rock stretches to the horizon. No shade, no rivers, no animals. Just heat radiating upward in soft waves. You've left danger behind, but now you face nothingness. You ration water. Every few hours, you stop to press handfuls of bark-wrapped meat into the children's palms. They chew slowly, silently. The laughter from 2 nights ago after the Orokshas vanished. Even the wind has grown tired. You no longer hear it. The quiet becomes something else. A presence, a pressure. You feel it in your chest like you've forgotten how to breathe deeply. There is nothing wrong here, but there is nothing right either. You scan the ground constantly, not for danger, for direction. Because when the world gives you no path, every step feels like a question. Late that afternoon, your sister stumbles. You catch her quickly, help her sit beneath a flat rock, barely casting any shade. Her lips are cracked, her skin red. She doesn't cry. She just breathes shallow. "I'm okay," she whispers. You shake your head. No, you both know she's not, but there's no going back. So you offer her the smallest sip from your own water skin and let her rest a moment longer. Greyfur joins you. He sits without a word, eyes scanning the distant land. Then he speaks, barely louder than the wind. "This is where the fire never came." You look at him. He nods. "It burned the forest, flooded the valleys, but it couldn't chase us here. Too dry, too wide, too empty." You look across the flat land. It feels like walking through a memory no one remembers. "Then why does it feel worse?" you ask. He doesn't answer. Because you both know. Because emptiness is not quiet. It's hunger. You camp that night in a shallow depression, surrounded by wind-polished stones. There's no fire, no fuel, just the moon, rising above the endless plain, silver and distant. The children sleep first, then the others. You lie awake, staring upward. No threats, no flames, no roaring beasts, just silence, and the slow press of doubt creeping into your bones. In the dream, you're walking alone again, the same open land, but this time there are no stars, no ancestors, no sky, only dust, and one by one, your footprints vanish behind you, swallowed by the wind, erased like they were never there. You run, you scream, but there is no echo, only the sound of your own breath, tight and afraid, then a whisper. "Keep walking." You wake. Your heart is racing, but your hands are steady. You rise and look east, and for the first time in days you see something. A flicker, a shimmer, a faint glint, just barely catching the morning light. Not water, not fire. Stone, carved, another mark, another sign. You keep your eyes on the glint. Even as the sun rises higher and the heat returns, you don't look away. It flickers between distant waves of rising air, just a sliver of light reflecting off something firm and natural. Not sky, not rock, something placed. You whisper to Greyfur as the tribe gathers. There's something ahead. He doesn't question it. No one does. Because even the hope of something is better than the nothing you've been walking through. You lead them now, across cracked earth and scattered bones bleached white by sun, over dry gullies and hardened mud that once held rivers. The shimmer draws closer with each hour, sharpening, solidifying. By midday, it becomes real, stone, vertical. Not a cliff, not a wall, but a structure. Not high, but tall enough to block the wind, wide enough to cast real shadow. At its center, a narrow opening, carved stone on both sides. Symbols, the same spiral from before, the same handprint. You stop. The wind picks up, soft and dry, whispering past your ears like a voice with no words. Your sister steps beside you. "It's the same hands," she says quietly. You nod. Not a ruin, not a shrine, a shelter, built long ago, by those who also walked through fire and flood and silence. You enter first. Inside, the air is still and cool. The walls curve in slightly, like a natural cave, but the shape is too purposeful. Stone slabs lean together, braced by heavy beams made of old tree trunks. Smoke stains mark the ceiling. Charcoal flakes cling to the corners. It's been used before, many times, long ago. The back wall is smooth, and on it paint, simple strokes. A fire, a wave, a long line of walking figures, and above them, in red, a single hand, open, facing out, welcoming. You run your fingers across the surface. This place wasn't just shelter, it was a message. The tribes gather slowly, entering in silence. They sit against the walls, eyes wide, grateful but reverent. No one speaks loudly. Even the children whisper. Greyfur walks to the center and kneels. "This was built," he says. "Not by gods, not by monsters, but by people, like us. You crouch beside your sister and unwrap the stone you've carried since the carvings by the marsh the fragment with the spiral. You press it into a groove on the wall. It fits perfectly. A piece of a map, a path remembered. You understand now. This shelter was never just meant for rest. It was a waypoint, a place to leave signs, to show that someone made it this far. That night, for the first time in many moons, there is fire again. Real fire, safe fire, fed by dry roots found along the wall's outer edge. Smoke curls up through a hole in the roof, carried away by the stars. The tribe sits in a circle. Stories are told softly, not of what was lost, but of what was carried, of what endured. Your sister laughs, just once. You smile. Bark-Eye hums a low tune from before the mountain cracked open. And you listen to the stone, to the silence, to the memory of those who came before you and left this gift behind. You wake before the others. The fire has faded to red coals. The air inside the shelter is cool, but still carries the warmth of life, of breath, of bodies, of voices that whispered through the night. You rise quietly and step outside. The sky is pale. The stars are fading, but the land beyond the shelter glows with soft promise. Hills, real ones, green and gold in the distance. Beyond the dry stretch, beyond the cracked earth, you finally see what the elders used to speak of safe land. The kind that feeds, the kind that waits. You feel something strange settle in your chest. Not fear, not relief, something in between. The tribes gather as the sun climbs higher. Some kneel to press their hands against the painted wall inside the shelter. Others leave marks of their own ashes, symbols, even a smooth pebble shaped like a tooth. Offerings. Before you leave, Grey Fur turns to face everyone. His voice is rough, but steady. This place is proof. Not that the gods saved us, but that people can. No one claps, no one chants, but the silence agrees. You begin the final walk. The land ahead is unfamiliar, but not hostile. Each step feels easier, now lighter. Even the wind has changed. It doesn't scrape your face anymore. It carries scent, soil, life. The grass begins to grow again. Short at first, then thicker. You find flowers, bees, birds that land nearby without fear, and hoof prints small and scattered. Game is here. You find a stream, cold, clean, moving fast over smooth stones. The children cheer. The others bend to drink. Some weep as the water touches their tongues. Your sister looks up at you. Is this where we stay? You don't answer right away. You look around. The land feels ready, like it has been waiting. But you think of something else. The carvings, the shelter, the handprints on the wall. Someone survived before you, and they didn't stay. They moved on, left signs, left tools, left knowledge. Because someone might come after. You kneel beside your sister and speak quietly. Maybe we stay, or maybe we build. She tilts her head. Build? You glance toward a nearby hill. If we make something, and someone like us comes, they won't be alone. That night, the tribes camp on dry ground. No wind. No firelight smoke burning your throat. No trembling earth. You sit beneath a tall tree and carve a mark into the trunk a circle. A path and a hand. The same hand you saw in your dream. The same hand that welcomed you. Grey Fur joins you, watching. You think someone will find it? He asks. You nod. If not now, someday. He looks up at the stars. So many forgot. And we don't, you say. You don't move on the next morning. Not because you're tired, but because no one wants to. There is no decision spoken aloud. No command. The sun rises over the new land, and instead of preparing satchels or scouting the next trail, people begin to spread out, not wandering, working. Bark-Eye drags thick branches to a ridge near the stream and starts carving stakes with a flint blade. Two women gather flat stones and lay them in a circle for fire. Children splash in the shallows, gathering pebbles, laughing again. You watch it all from the hilltop. Your sister climbs up beside you. She doesn't ask if you're staying. She already knows. By midday, the signs of a new home are everywhere. No buildings, no fences, but something older than walls begins to take shape. Pattern, gathering, stacking, clearing, marking. Someone finds berries on the edge of the field. Someone else unearths a hidden nest of wild roots. Bark Eye brings back fresh, meat-small, fast-footed creatures that burrow under grass. Nothing like mammoth or aurochs, but enough. You help dig a shallow pit near the streamstone lined and packed with clay. It will hold water for the dry days. Greyfur watches everything unfold, seated on a high stump, as if counting each movement like prayer beads. Later, he pulls you aside. Do you know why we're still alive? You shrug. We moved. He nods. Yes, but also because we learned. You sit beside him. You think that's enough? You ask. No, he says, but it's what makes everything else possible. That evening, the tribes gather again. But it no longer feels like two tribes. No boundaries, no camps. Just a circle of people beneath a rising moon. You kneel at the fire and place the small stone from the marsh the spiral carving into the ash ring, a reminder of where you've been. Your sister places a flower beside it. No one laughs, because they understand. Someone sings soft and low, the kind of song meant not to fill the air, but to keep the darkness gentle. A song of shelter, of memory, of beginning. You lie on your back in the tall grass, staring up. The stars return, clear, still. And this time, they're not watching you run. They're watching you stay. The stars blink above you. You lie still beneath them, letting the earth hold your weight. Not in fear, not in exhaustion, but in something deeper peace. The grass rustles softly in the night breeze. Somewhere nearby, a child coughs once, then sighs and falls back to sleep. You hear the steady ripple of the stream, the faint rhythm of breath from dozens of resting bodies. This is not silence. This is living. When the sun rises, it casts long shadows across everything you've built. No walls yet, but shapes are forming. A place where meat is dried, a circle of stones around the fire. A flat patch of earth where furs are stretched, not for packing, but for tanning. Marks, patterns, memory, etched into soil. You walk the ridge one last time, the highest point near camp. From here, you can see it all: the stream, the shelter, the stones with spiral carvings your sister added with a stick and soot. Beyond them, the fading path that led you here. You turn toward the west, and there it is. Still distant, still massive. The mountain, quiet now, wrapped in haze. You stare at it for a long time, not with fear, not with anger, with understanding. The mountain burned because that is what mountains sometimes do. The world cracked because the world is not gentle. The earth drowned its own valleys, shook its own bones, lit its own sky on fire. But you walked through it. You didn't conquer the fire. You didn't stop the flood. You just kept going. And in the end, that's what survival truly meant. Not winning. Continuing. Your sister joins you at the ridge. She places a stone in your hand smooth, oval, warm from her grip. Mark something, she says. You crouch at the edge of the trail and press the stone into the soil. A dot, that's all. A dot to say, we were here. And maybe, someday, when the mountain wakes again, another will walk this same path. Another will find the shelters, the carvings, the spirals in stone, and they'll know they weren't the first to suffer or to survive because you remembered for them. And now they will remember too.